author as well as a brand coach, and my motto is living through the power of love. You can also find me on the World Wide Web at paularmor.com.
Topic for today. First question is going to be, what does empowerment mean? And we're going to go ahead and start with Miss Paula today.
Awesome. Well, being that I'm an empowerment speaker and coach, and so I do this for a living, I think my definition for empowerment, it means to evolve. Like, I help people evolve. I help take them from simple to complex, and meaning that I help them to find what their power is, like their superpowers. Like, I feel like we're all superheroes in some type of way, like we were born with gifts and talents. And so I help people from entrepreneurship to, if it deals with like life coaching, if it deals with, branding, finding that niche. I help people find their niche. I help people find their purpose or their passion in life. And so to me, empowerment is that whole word evolve. Also with empowerment and evolving is to just definitely have authority in the area. Again, there are a lot of people who feel powerless, because they haven't identified, what their strengths are. And so I would definitely say that those are the components that have worked for me and my clients, is teaching them authority, teaching them how to evolve into this superhero individual. Like I said, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether it's if you're head of an organization like you are, Margie. And so I think it's just really, really, as far as leadership is concerned, definitely know your posture when it comes to empowerment.
I totally agree, because the people we work with, oftentimes they feel so powerless. And even if you research a true definition of empowerment, it depends on where you are, it depends on your culture, it depends on, empowerment means so much, and it has so many different meanings. How do we conceptualize it and put it and package it into one solid definition? Here again, it just has so many factors, but you said one of the key things is giving someone power. It's giving them their own authority over whatever the situation may be, whatever their goal is, helping them to navigate on how to accomplish that goal. It's giving someone the tools and the instruments to use in order for them to create the world that they want to live in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's also about having dominion. We're people of dominion, and so a lot of us don't know that, and so definitely the tools are necessary. For me, I think self-love is just, or that question is a very broad platform to talk about, but as an author of my book that I'm about to release, The Power of Loving You, and it was a book that I had to write not just for those that will pick the book up, but I had to write it for myself. Right. I have been in 2 marriages, and that means 2 divorces, and being single and coming out of those experiences. Normally, typically, a person, when they come up out of a marriage or go through a very horrible divorce, they always looking at, so what's wrong with me? Yeah. And I took it as a learning experience, both of my marriages, and even, when I used to date, just why I kept attracting the same type of person. And typically, it's not the people that you meet. Typically, it's something that's not wired right on the inside of you. And what the problem was with me was I didn't know how to love myself. I was always seeking out for the opposite sex for love and attention because of my past and being abused as a child and not having, the proper home or environment that taught love, or I didn't see love. And so, it's very broad when you talk about self-love, because a lot of people don't even know what love is. Yes. But I found out, because God is love, and when I embraced Him, and started finding out what I'm made of, what, like Margie said, what do I like to do? It's not about, coming to America, whatever you like. It's just really So you're having those quiet moments with yourself, assessing yourself. Self-love is about assessing yourself. You know, what makes you happy. And a lot of times we do get into relationships because we're thinking that that person is going to make us happy. But you have to become whole in yourself. You have to learn. Love is a whole educational, I think, field. You know, like love is just, it's an endless field, and you're constantly every day finding out things that you can fall in love with yourself about. And I learned about self-love is you becoming your best friend.
I think that gives you that positive aspect of life and keeps you aligned with yourself.
Absolutely.
If you're your best friend and you're checking in on yourself and making sure that you're doing,
Yeah.
you know, what you need to be doing, because that's what you basically do with your best friend. You make sure they're all right. You know, any problems they have going on, you try to talk with them and talk through it. So you could do that same thing with yourself if you're your best friend. So I really love that.
I like the way you said that also, Crystal, that you have to check in.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we normally don't do. We check in, we even check in on our material things in our life. Like we check our cars to make sure they run properly. Some can only use premium gas. But yet we eat unhealthy. That's why I was really thankful for the meal. Because it was healthy and it was delicious. But you know, we have to get in the same mindset. When we want the best, we have to treat ourselves in the same way. You know, and it doesn't cost a fortune to really be your own best friend. Because you know what you like. You know what those expectations are.
Right. I also want to say, Margie, like investing in you. Because oftentimes we invest in so many people, and as an empowerment speaker, I'm always constantly pouring into people, and then I come up kind of short, like on E, and it's just like, okay, I have to take time out for myself. I have to love on myself. I have to pamper myself. So definitely maintenance on us is definitely necessary.
Paula, what's a way that self-love and health to you coincide together?
I think about my intake every day, whether it's relational, whether it's the foods that I eat. You know, they say you are what you eat. And so, you know, I want positive people around me all the time. Like if I sense any negativity, I don't deal with you. Like I am like that. Going back to the health aspect of it, you know, whatever you feed your body, you feel good about yourself. You have more energy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really focusing and disciplining yourself to be healthy. Disciplining yourself relationship-wise, even as far as what you eat on a daily basis. You know, that's my take on it.
I mean, that kind of sums everything up with the health and, you know, the empowerment, the self-love, a little bit of everything. But another addition, I would say, is when you bring all of this together and you're trying to find out, okay, what exactly is it that I want to start with? Because now you have a list of things, but you don't know which one to start with first. You know, I mean, it's a process.
It is.
It is definitely. And you found yours. You found yours with cooking. And, you know, with you being a life coach, I'm a licensed therapist. We are often used to help people find and how to navigate through the things that they like, because sometimes they can't even identify it, because they're so busy investing in other people.
That's true.
You know, so we have to help. You know, well, no, is this about you? You know, and sometimes it's okay to just
be selfish.
To be selfish.
Yes.
To step back and look in the mirror and say, okay, now what do you want?
Yes.
You know, you have to do that.
Well, I do a platform called The Power of You. And I noticed in our society that women really don't know who they are. Like, they have no identity. Everybody, or as far as women are trying to be like other women. And when you find your originality, like when you find out who you are, I have become this very powerful person, not because society says that I am. I found myself. You know what I'm saying? I found my power within, and that's why we created the platform, The Power of You. And when you find your identity, your true identity, you know, it separates you from the multitude. It separates you from being a copycat or being in competition with another woman. And so I think that that is so important. I have another book that's coming out called Identity Theft. And that book deals with how our identity has been taken, whether it's from childhood,
Yeah.
you know, due to certain circumstances. It could be through a divorce that you feel like you're a failure. You feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not beautiful enough. I wasn't the best person in the marriage. You know, so you can lose yourself in so many different ways, or not even introduce yourself to you because of certain circumstances and situations. I totally agree with you. When I think about all the plastic surgery, you know, where women have lost limbs because they want to, you know, more rounder rear, you know, or, you know, fuller chest, or, you know, they want to fix their nose, which I feel like whatever you're born with, like, you were perfect, you know, and, you know, society, like you say, in the image, you know, when I think about growing up with artists like Little Kim, and so now she's so unrecognizable, like, you know, but she did that more so for like the fashion industry, like she wanted to be someone else, and so definitely we need to self-check that.
For me, how do you guys feel, and we'll start with Ms. Paula on this, but how do you feel with sex trafficking and human trafficking, how it affects not only that person, but how it can affect people around them and other people, how it affects society, period, with human sex trafficking going on, because it does have a cause and effect at the end of the day.
It definitely affects the person directly, of course, but indirectly the community. You know, because these are individuals who, again, going back to self-love and not knowing who you are, you know, they cannot be positive citizens in the community because of all of this negative action that's taken place in their life. And so it affects us. It affects us whether, you know, this person is in a store, you know, and they're acting out, or, you know, criminals, you know, they become criminals because it's always about a hustle. You know, even when they get out of the system, and I thank God for your organization, so you have to retrain them to be better citizens and to be, you know, better individuals.
It's not a process that happens overnight.
No, it's not.
I mean, I have some people who have been in service for 5+ years. And then before recent laws were changed, but when minors were arrested for prostitution, I mean, as young as 13 and 14 years old, they were arrested for prostitution, and it would go on their records. They become repeat offenders, turn 18. Now it's a felony because they have so many. Then they can't secure employment. You know, nobody wants to hire somebody who has a felony. So it impacts us.
It does.
And then you got to look at it from the taxpayer standpoint. You're paying for the adjudication of these children or the incarceration of the adults. You're paying for that pimp, the person who's trafficking. You're paying for that buyer who's arrested while they're in jail. You're paying for your tax dollars. So it does impact.
Well, I'm going to tell you like firsthand, because I was one that was kidnapped at an early age, and, you know, and raped and all of those things. And when there's no counseling, there's no betterment, because it's unfortunate in our community, you know, the African American community, that if something happens like that, you don't go and get help. You just deal with it. And again, that's what in turn causes a person to do criminal acts. You know, I was very, you know, I don't want to say bad, but, you know, became that because of, you know, what took place in my life. So you need these types of organizations and programs to reprogram, you know, the individuals so they can be better citizens. Well, if you're in need of an empowerment coach or self-awareness, you can definitely go to my website, paularmor.com. All of my social sites are Paula R. Amor, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also contact me at 770-572-0709. And remember the power of loving you.